What if everything you've been taught about suffering, that it's proof of something, that it has some sort of purpose, that it's a gift, what if that was all a lie? Today we're in for a bit of suffering, 800-meter intervals, and in between each one, we're going to talk about the myth of redemptive suffering. Suffering is not a glitch. I just finished my first 800-meter interval, and I'm feeling a bit of the suffering. But suffering is not a glitch, it's the terrain. We hear this in the first noble truth of Buddhism, that all is suffering. And a lot of times we feel like we're hardwired to avoid statements like that. But the reality is, this isn't bad news. It's just news. To live is to ache. We spend so much of our life trying to outrun this sentence, but Buddhism just says it out loud. So if suffering isn't optional, what do we do with it? That's what this whole video is all about. Here's the thing, not all suffering is the same suffering. That's the second interval. Whew, I'm feeling a little bit of suffering. You see, there's the suffering of being a body, and then there's the suffering of what someone else is deciding your body is for. These intervals hurt because I'm choosing it, but that's not the same as the kind of hurt that nobody would choose for themselves. Delores Williams and other womanist theologians have been saying for decades that we need to stop treating all pain like it's the same prayer. No, I'm not saying that you can avoid suffering. All is suffering, especially when you just finished the third interval of 800-meter intervals. Whew. But we need to dismantle the myth of redemptive suffering. It's like we have a no pain, no gain theology, and somewhere along the way, we decided that suffering was proof of something, proof that you have enough faith, proof that you have enough love, proof that you're doing it right. What? I mean, that's definitely true when it comes to these 800-meter intervals, but when it comes to the totality of life, no. Williams calls this kind of suffering surrogacy, where someone's pain gets treated as useful for someone else. Call it holy instead of calling it what it is. Because here's the thing, if suffering is always redemptive, then it's a trap. It never ends. It just has to be endured. Kind of like this interval. You know, one big reason why we need to dismantle this myth of redemptive suffering is because too often the cross has been misunderstood to be a transaction. Oh, that was interval number 4. I am feeling it. Somewhere along the way, the cross turned into a receipt. God needed pain, Jesus paid it, transaction complete. But what if the cross isn't God requiring suffering, but God refusing to stay outside of suffering? It's not that suffering satisfies God, but suffering is where God shows up. What if the cross doesn't change God's mind about us, but the cross changes our mind about God? You see, there's suffering as a closet and suffering as incarnation. This suffering is interval number 5. Whew. You see, there's a suffering that comes from hiding who you are or being forced to hide who you are. And then there's a suffering that just comes from being in a body, breathing hard, recognizing that entropy exists and every moment is fleeting. One of these sufferings is a wound or being wounded. The other is just Friday morning. For centuries, theology has told certain bodies they need to hide or disappear. Queer bodies, black bodies, brown bodies, women bodies, anything that's not a white male straight cis body. But what if the body isn't the problem? This right here, lungs burning, legs aching, or whatever you're feeling in your body right now. This isn't a cross to bear. This is just what it means to be. Like that first tenet of Buddhism. All is suffering. Speaking of suffering, here we go. What it all comes down to is this. Don't let anyone redeem your pain for you. Speaking of pain, interval number 6. Oh, there's a little pain. Delores Williams talks about the wilderness not as punishment, but as a place where you find things that you didn't know you had. Nobody who wasn't in it with you gets to tell you what it's for. That's you. You're the one in the wilderness. You're the one in the pain. You're the one experiencing suffering. You see, the violence embedded in a theology of redemptive suffering is that someone else gets to decide. Someone else says what your pain and suffering is for. Someone else says what it means. Let it be what it is before anyone, including yourself, turns your suffering into a lesson. You see, suffering doesn't save you. But being accompanied through it, that just might. Oh, that was number 7. One more to go after this. You see, nobody makes it through an 8x800 workout alone. I got kudos coming on Strava. And the same is true for the everything is suffering that we experience. We shouldn't suffer alone. So maybe the question should never be, what's my suffering for? But rather, who's here with me in the midst of my suffering? Suffering is not some punishment because you're a sinner in the hands of an angry God. Suffering is an invitation to recognize what it means to be human and to discover and to encounter God here in the most authentic moments of our humanity. It's not redemptive suffering, but it's a companion suffering. All is suffering. What does it mean to be present, to be human with your suffering and the suffering of others around you? Because that's what we see in Christ. That's what we see in the incarnation of God. Time for one more round of suffering. All right, we did it. 8x800. That last one was my fastest. Very interesting. Making a video about suffering while you are intentionally suffering. I mean, and one could say that the suffering I just went through, 8x800 meter interval training, has a goal, has a meaning, has a purpose to run a stronger marathon. But I think it also just exists for me to feel my body and to feel my breath and to know what it means to exist in this world. To know that you weren't alone in your suffering. Not to say that what I'm feeling is the same as your suffering, but at an existential level, everything is suffering. Maybe that is good news. All right, leave a comment. What do you think? See you on the next one.